I believe that there would be a lot more happy people in the world if people would really sort out their lives and be putting their energy into things that they really believe in. And in this country here, in spite of its painfully goofy trips at times, at least there's still a certain amount of opportunity for people to create the things that they believe in. And my thing is, my own personal thing is to always keep expanding my freedoms, you know. I've always taken, I move on the premise that if it doesn't say in big bold letters this is illegal or against the law, well, I'm going to go and test it out and push out to the very furthest perimeters to try and keep that space alive there and going. I have a very strong feeling about what we're supposed to be doing here on the planet. I believe that human beings are here for a purpose, to grow. This is the processing station. The Creator's put us here on the Earth Mother, and this is a processing station. And it's a place for us to grow to our fullest human potential. And in that process of growing, the Creator's been very good to us, and that He doesn't set down our lives that we have to sit in little locked up boxes. All the potential of the universe is before us. I believe that the ultimate world, and we're moving toward that world now, with very rapid earth changes happening on the earth, as an ultimate world is a world in which human beings will be carrying the law in their heart. And that's what the whole story is about, is that of us being here on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, is growing into our fullest potential and getting to where we can walk a sacred path, and where we are walking it because we want to do it. Not because somebody is standing around with a billy club and telling us all the thou shalt nots in the world. This is why with my own people, I leave them the highest possible opportunity to select, to reject, and grow into things. When they come to me, my apprentices or the Bear Tribe people, I encourage them to explore other things and keep learning other things at the same time. And I feel very good that some of my key people in the Bear Tribe have been through a lot of different isms and dogmas and checked out a lot of different things, you know. Like if I want a rundown on what a particular group believes or teaches and everything, all I have to do is ask Brother Shanadisi or Wabin, and they can tell me. They've already been there, you know. And I tell people, you know, I prefer them to come to me after they've checked out everything else, you know. I want them to have checked it all out, and a lot of the people that are part of what I'm doing, they've exhausted all other possibilities. They've been through it all, and they say, hey, you know, I want to find something that's real, that works, that connects me to the earth and the creation, and something that I can feel and experience. And this is what I'm trying to draw through my apprentices. My apprentices, I teach them, put them through a 10-day intensive training program, and then they come for other programs after that. And what I tell them I'm trying to make them become is spiritual karate masters. That means people that can move at any level in this society and do things. And people that are not wanting to hide from the world, but are looking at it as a very interesting thing, you know. I want them to be to where they got their act together enough that they can look at the whole system and use it as a springboard of knowledge and not be fearful of this or that is going to overwhelm them or something. I hate the people who other time they turn around in the world they're saying they're overwhelmed, you know, or they can't handle it and everything. The New Age people, my brothers and sisters that come into the New Age thing and everything, I think, you know, I see a lot of good things happening in them, with them. And I think that they're growing. I hope that they're growing, a lot of them. But I see a certain amount of wimpishness that we've allowed to happen to us as well. That's not spiritual warriors, you know. People who allow themselves to get to where they're nothing. They want to be bland, you know, and everything, and they think that's spirituality. To me, spirituality is being able to see, evaluate everything else around you, and be able to move in such a way that you are always moving in a positive manner toward helping to heal, helping to accomplish, helping to open up. I feel that the Spirit puts us into some very powerful situations just to grow through them. I know my own life, I feel very much that. You know, I find that as I go along this sacred path, the more I go the sacred path, the more I am seeing and understanding being here. And it's very interesting because in my own path, I remember somewhere back in distant time, somewhere in the world, you know, in the universe, when I had a choice of coming into the earth. And the choice was there were 3 different people. I saw the lives of 3 different people. And one of the persons is Sun Bear. The other one is a black man named Alou Lazan. And I know that person is somewhere in the world, and I'm going to meet him one of these days. And the other one I'd be fighting in El Salvador right now. So I think I picked the right one. And it's something that I feel that the true spiritual warrior should have enough balance in their life and have understanding in that they can look at everything that passes through their life and everything around them, and to be able to see it, understand it, not get overwhelmed with it, and not get too judgmental that they're spending all of their energy worrying about what the other person is doing. A lot of people in the world, they spend all of their time and energy worrying about what somebody else is doing, and are waiting for the rest of the world to be brave enough to do the things that they think they should be doing, you know. I want brothers and sisters that want to go along and they're seeing the dance and they're enjoying it and opening up to it, rather than people that are going to be followers, mindless followers. I'm not in the spirit path. This is what I'm happy about with the Bear Tribe, is each one of them, and with my apprentices too, is an individual, you know. Sometimes it takes a little more effort to get them to where you can get them all going the same direction, because they have, you know, each one of them is individual and they're strong human beings, and helping to see what they can, helping them sitting down and finding out what they're wanting to do and how their life wants to go. It takes a little something effort. To me, the Creator is a very powerful being, and the Creator represents the supreme intelligence in the universe. And we all have the ability to tap into that intelligence. And the more that sometimes you have to do a little sorting out, you have to do a little listening. And sometimes you have to be brave enough to get past a lot of your conditioning and crap in order to even hear. It's a way of what I see is that you have to learn to look at the world in a different way. I tell people that one of the first steps on the path of power is when you can look at the whole system, all the glitter and glamour and all the neon signs and everything else, and say, I don't believe it. That's the first step. If you don't believe that, then you're going to have to start looking for something that you do believe, you know. And you may have to start looking with a different way of looking at things. You may have to get a different eyesight to things, because the world that I've had to find was one that I had to sort out and go here and there and find these little places of light, this knowledge, and then connect it together. It wasn't all put together in one simple little college course or something. And like I tell my apprentices, what has to happen is you have to get to where you create your own belief system. That's what it amounts to. Now that's a heretic belief, you know, out here, you know, amongst all of these great religions, because they want you to sit in a little box where they can spoon feed you their particular little dealie. And to me, that's not the way it is. Creating your own belief system is finding out just what really works, what really connects, what is all this out here, all the creation, it's all over the Earth Mother. Why is that there? And then you have to ask why is that there, and what am I doing here? What is my purpose here upon the planet? And when you get to that, and you start finding out how you're going to fit into it, how the rest of the creation fits in, and it has to fit in. All of it has to come in together. That's what really is the thing of it. And to me, that's why I've been walking the path that I have. A lot of my things are Native American beginnings and the basic philosophy of a strong relationship to the Earth Mother. That's the beginning. That's the foundation block. An understanding of a relationship with all creation, all living things around us that interrelates with us. That's very important, because we're on the planet, and you have this, and then you begin to start pulling in other things and building on it, and your belief system, that's your biggest power block. That's what you have to have. I mean, that's the starting up of everything. If you don't have a belief system, it's really hard to deal with this goofy system out there. If you don't have something, some place that you're centered into and something that you personally feel about everything, otherwise you're just a spinning top and you don't really get anything. You're just a poor little lost microbe moving back and forth in the universe and blowing about. But when you're centered in, and you know what you feel and how your path is, and you start strengthening that by adding in knowledge there, and it's also a thing of it that is a result of it. Once you're centered in and you have certain basic truths that you believe, then you can look at the rest of it and you can tell what's real and what isn't, you know. And that is a very, very important part of the dance, because there are a lot of people out here who flash a lot of little things. As my friend says, they spread a lot of fairy dust, you know. And so then when Guru Chi says that he can blow blue smoke up in the air, and you say, well, just what real value does that have to humanity, you know? And what will that do for the planet, you know? And that's what I measure. All the things that I do, and I move along this sacred path, is I want to know just what it really does and how it relates to the earth, to the creation, and how it will move my brothers and sisters along the sacred path. Like there's real power in all these forces around here. Like I work with the sacred beings, and when I call on spirit forces, I'm calling on spirits that have been with us for thousands of years. These are the spirit beings, like the way that we think of it. We think of it is upon the earth, is that the Creator placed humankind here, and all the rest of this creation is around us. And then we have that's the visible realm. And the invisible realm is the spirit beings that are out here to help us on an everyday basis. And for thousands of years, humankind was in direct touch with them. The Hopi brothers say that at one time, humankind had a soft spot in the top of their heads that we have when we're babies, and that soft spot remained open all during our lifetime. And then communication with the spirit realm was very easy. But because we got locked up and hard-headed, we locked ourselves out of that power. And now it's a little bit harder. You're going to have to get out there and pray hard in order to communicate with these forces and powers. When I go out and I'm out here and I'm praying to bring rain and using my pipe in a sacred manner, people see me doing that. And they say, well, that's supernatural, you know, when the rains come and everything. I say, no, that's not supernatural. It's perfectly natural. We've been doing it for thousands of years. It's just that a lot of people have lost contact with it. They aren't using it anymore. To me, calling on the rain spirits is very important. You know, when we're over in the area there and you haven't had rain for a while, and we have a strong connection, a strong need for that power to be able to communicate with it. It's something of it, you know, like you're doing a ceremony. It might not be as important to you because you don't, you're not dependent upon the rains to feed your crops. If you're getting your, you know, if you're getting your food out of a cellophane bag out of a Safeway store, it's really hard for you to get out in front of that Safeway store and do a ceremony, you know, and ask for that to come to you. But if you're having to pray for rain because otherwise your corn crop is going to dry up and your people aren't going to eat that winter, then you know the power of ceremony, see? And you learn about that you have, like in the native traditions, we feel that we have a strong connection with these spirit beings. We've been working with them for thousands of years. And those spirit powers, they feel that they have a responsibility to humankind. When we pray to a spirit, I pray for a spirit to help me. I'm not praying, you know, to Uncle Joe's spirit who passed on, you know, last week or something like that. Because I'm not sure if Uncle Joe has got anything more going now than when he left, you know. And I want real action, real power. And so my thing is that these are spirits all over the world. They've worked with humankind for thousands of years. And it's something of it, it's really, really good to know they're still there, you know. Like I'm over in Deutschland, over in Germany there. I go to a place up on the, it's in a place up there near Salzburg, and it's a place where the Romans had their forts all along this line. It was called the Limit, the line, this place there. And they had a Roman fort there. And my apprentices have brought me there, and they want me to make a prayer there. Well, I've been going to all of the sacred spots in Germany, and praying for that communicate with the spirits and powers there. And every time when I'd sit down there and pray, it'd be still day, and the little wind would come up, breeze would come up, you know, and greet us, and then it'd calm down again. And this one is a place where the power is that we're communicating with is Mitreus. Mitreus is a god of the Romans. It was a fertility god. He had carried a bull on his shoulders, and he'd pierce the bull with a knife, and the blood would run down and fertilize the earth. Very powerful thing. And he also had the power to take and strike rock, and water would come out of it. And so we go to his shrine there, and they say, well, Sun Bear, we want to see what's going to happen. We want you to make pipe here. And so I make my pipe, and I'm praying with the pipe. And the next thing, and we've got nothing but tall trees around. And I say, this is going to be interesting, see what's going to happen here. I pray with the pipe, and a whirlwind comes in. It goes all around, dancing around in the trees there. And this to me is next to impossible, because the whirlwinds are in the southwest in the United States and so forth, where you got those hot air, you know, energies to take and draw them in. But it comes through there and dances around, and oh ho, oh ho, this is good, this is good. And when I was down in Wabin, and I were doing a medicine wheel down at the Lama Foundation in New Mexico, and we're praying there with the pipe at the wheel, and there's two other medicine men with me, and we hear this roaring through the pine trees, and it's been a totally still day there. We hear this roaring through the pine trees of this wind, and the minute I finish the pipe, this one big gust of wind comes through, and it blows off our hats, and that's the end of it. It's only about 100 yards wide, this wind, and that's it for the day. No more wind. And it's something of it that communicating with these forces is very, very real. Like I was out on the Nevada desert between Tonopah and Hawthorne, driving along the road there, and I'm calling. I see this storm front going along there, this thunderstorm going along the side of the mountain, and I see the lightning hit the ground one place in this valley. And I say, oh, that's good, that's good. I want to go out and get out there and pray. And I get out beside the car and I start praying on the side of the road there. And the next thing, these powers are coming in. These thunder beings are coming down, and they're striking the ground there. And I start praying, and I direct my eyes, and it's like directing artillery at 10 times across the valley. The lightning strikes just where I'd look next to with my eyes. And I say, oh, this is powerful medicine. And working with these forces to me is very, 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 very real. It's a real living energy that is there, the power of that you call in, and calling it in when you need it, it to me is very important medicine. Like the Hopi brothers in the southwest there, they're at the Gallup Indian ceremonies, and the Hopis, they are asked always to dance the last day of the ceremonies, because for the last 66 years, whenever they dance, either immediately afterwards before they hardly leave the dance area, or within the next 4 days it rains, and it rains hard. And this is in August. So when you get to where this is, happens for 66 years in a row, it has to be beyond coincidence, I'm over in Germany, and I had went over there. I just had went over from Germany, and before I left the United States, I was over at Boston, and I did a workshop there, and my apprentices wanted me to make a pipe and do some praying. They said, well, make a pipe, Sun Bear. We want to see what the Spirit's going to bring us today. So I made this pipe, and I'm praying, and it starts in, and this is the 1st of April there, and this is 2 years ago, and it starts in snowing. And it's snowing hard. And by the time we start heading back for Boston, it's snowing so hard that it's 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet of snow on the ground. And they said it was the worst snowstorm of the year. It cost $1 billion on the East Coast, the cleanup from the snowstorm and everything. And what it wasn't only snowing, but it was thunder and lightning in the snowstorm. And I say, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good, lots of power here. So I go over to Germany, and we're over in Germany, and we've been over there traveling for 2-3 weeks. Raven, my interpreter, he travels with me as interpreter because he speaks German. And we get to his town up in northern Germany, and this is Wilhelmshaven. It's a town on the it's on the North Sea up there. And Raven, we do a workshop there that night, or do a lecture, and the next day is free, and we're roaming around the town there, and it's a little bit of drizzle, and then it stops raining, and then it drizzles again. It's been going like this for the last 2-3 weeks, there, almost 3 weeks. And I say to Raven, I say, is this the only kind of weather you have here? And this is in April, you know, first part of April still. And he says, well, Sunbear, he says, this is the only kind of weather we have this time of the year. And I said, well, he takes me down to a place where there's a big stone. It's a 4-foot high stone. It's about 8 inches wide. It's called a sunstone. And I look at it, and it has 17 rings on it, and it has a hole carved through the center of it. And I look at it, and I recognize it immediately, because the medicine people of Germany and of Europe, they worked with the 13 moons in the 4 directions, or the 4 quarters, they call it also. And so I know what I'm looking at. And I pray, and I take my bear claw and put it in the center of the stone. And the next instant, the clouds split, and the sun comes through, and then the clouds start breaking up all around that area. I find out they're breaking up all over Germany and all over Europe and over England. For the next 2 weeks, we have nothing but clear, hot weather. It gets up in the 70s and 80s, and they're saying this is a heat wave. This is not the kind of weather we ever have here in Europe at this time of the year. And it stayed that way, and I was over in England and enjoying this beautiful balmy weather. And I come back, I get ready to fly out of Munich, Germany, back to the States, and that night it clouded over, it started raining again. And so I really believe in this force, and I feel a very deep love connection with the powers and forces that are there. And that's one of the medicines that I work with. I work with the pipe in a sacred manner. To me, the pipe is a way of communicating with spirits and powers. And I've had some very powerful experiences with that. When I do healing, there are 2 people involved in the healing. That's the healer and the person being healed. And if you're open to the energy and flowing into that energy, it works. To me, working with the sacred medicine, praying with the sacred medicine, and working with these healing powers, and working with the spirit powers, is something that humankind, as they reach out and they learn to reconnect with it, it's open to all of us. It's not doesn't matter that you have to have a brown skin or something to be able to do it. It's something of it that part of the thing of it is that sometimes my brothers and sisters at this stage in the game, they have to have a little washout, a little mental washout before they can get on back to really doing things, because they've been conditioned into being totally powerless and thinking that somebody else has to go and say the words for them, and that they're not, they can't do it, that they can't communicate with these forces or powers themselves. They say, well, we got to have a priest or preacher, or somebody else has to do it for us. And the thing is that all of those forces and all of those powers that humankind have worked with for thousands of years, they're still all around. They're still alive and well, you know. And the spirit powers, when you start learning to go to a sacred area and you pray there and you're asking for help, asking for spiritual direction and help, are very open to it, you know. Very, very open to it. They haven't had much business lately. Most people have forgotten they're even around, you know. So if you go there in a real way and you're asking in a real way, they're going to respond to you, you know, because that's what it's about. That's their part of the agreement, is to work with humanity, but they don't work with humanity unless if you are asking. If you're asking, if you're coming there and you're saying, Spirit, I would like to, I'm looking for this, I'm praying for this, I need help. And they're going to say, oh, somebody's asking for us. Like we say that when we pray with a pipe, we say, well, on this continent, they're used to being called by that pipe, so they smell that tobacco and they say, oh, somebody's coming in good manner and asking for help. I try to encourage my apprentices to stop smoking otherwise, because, you know, they get to where the spirits are used to coming around them and they smell that tobacco coming up there and they say, oh, somebody's calling us, like they want something, and they come around, oh, he's just doing it for fun, you know, no sense in that, you know. And so then they get to where they don't want to come around anymore, you know. But if you get to where you're working with that in a sacred way, and to me it's really something to see what has happened, because it's been interesting to watch, because the white man took the sacred sacrament of the Indian and made it a tool of his destruction, you know, the tobacco. And the Indian took the sacred sacrament of the white man, the wine, and made that a tool of his destruction. So we have to look very carefully at these things, because we have a tendency to lose our balances. And understanding how to reconnect in a good manner is very important. Can't take and guarantee that somebody's going to be a medicine man or medicine woman. If they come to me and they study, they learn with me, we go through a 10-day intensive program. And this is open to all of you. I have 3 or 4 of my apprentices right here in the audience right now, and they'd be happy to share with you, you know, their own experience of it, of how it worked for them. And to me, I feel that if you're working along and you want to find this sacred path and really get involved in it and learn how to communicate with forces and powers in a real way, it's open for you. There's nobody that has an exclusive on it. And whether they respond to you depends on how sincere you are and what you're really approaching in a real way. To me, that's experience. And one of the things about it is that it's very interesting. It's a very, very interesting and very powerful thing. I have one of my apprentices down in Florida, and she got to praying, and she was really praying very powerfully in her apartment there for some help to come in. And all of a sudden, the doors and everything, windows are closed, you know, and there's a whirlwind in the room. The papers are spinning around, and books are coming off the things, and she runs out, splits out the door, and calls me from a payphone. She said, "Sunbury, this is happening, what do I do?" And I say, why don't you ask them what they want, or how they can help you. So it's something that is very, very real, you know. You get to where, you know, you see some things happen that are not used to in this world, you know, and it freaks you out a little bit. But learning how to grow into communicating with these forces and powers and getting beyond just going along and existing is really powerful. It's really fun. To me, the thing that I believe in teaching and sharing with people is how to make things happen. That's what I'm trying to make it all come about, you know. Because a lot of people, they go through life, and their whole life thing is existence, and they do a lot of suffering because they're living a life of existence just, and they keep wishing or wanting something else, but they are afraid to reach for it, reach beyond that. And when you learn to really have the power of working with forces and powers in a real way, communicating a real way. It's all open. The whole universe is open. Old medicine brother of mine, he said, one time he says, I was praying, he said, and nothing was happening, so I prayed harder. And to me, that's the key secret in it. Like right now, I have an abundance of things that are happening. Things are happening and moving so fast around me. I have a hard time keeping up with it. I have more things coming about and things that are unbelievable, you know. Right now we have a major publisher interested in at least 5 books of ours ready to sign with us. And I'm just, you know, I'm just an 8th grader, that's as far as I went, but yet I have authored 5 books and I have all these other potential there, you know. I do a lot of praying. Do a lot of praying. Have some people interested in working with me on a major feature picture, you know, it'll be shown at theaters. And I just pray these things into existence. Pray them into existence. Whatever I believe in and whatever I want, I make it, they call me Magic Man, you know. They say, hey, Magic Man, make some magic. That's what some of my friends say, you know, when I'm doing something. Because and it's something of it that it is working with and coming into harmony with the universe and all these forces and powers. And part of the tuning in on them, of these forces and powers and working with the universal energies, is getting first within yourself a sense of balance, a sense that you feel good about yourself, and feeling that you are giving your very best shot to it. Whatever you're doing, if you get it together and you feel that you're putting your best effort into it, and you're moving along, and if I'm moving along and I want something to happen or to do something, I pray to the Creator. I say, well, Creator, I'm doing this, and I believe in it, and it's a good thing, and I want to see it happen, and I'll be plugging at it for a while, and all of a sudden, it's just like heavy artillery hits ahead of me, and everything's blasted open, and all the things and all the people I want are there. And that's the way it works. It works on a very real basis. To me, I believe very strongly in manifesting anything that I want. And I don't believe in the wimpy crap approach to praying that a lot of people have. Well, you shouldn't pray for anything personal. I I know exactly what I need and what I want, you know. I don't know what somebody else wants, you know, in terms of it. I pray on a gut level basis for everything I need. And I really mean everything at any time. Some of my best praying is done on the crapper. That's the only place that I can get alone by myself. Like if I'm doing a workshop or something like this, that's the one place where I can be totally alone, you know. Those spaces are small enough that people can't get into it. Now I've had situations. I had one where I was over at this ashram back east, and this guy was, you know, I wasn't going to do any consultations there. I usually try not to do consultations at workshops, you know, or anything. And I thought that I had 6 people come up to me and pour out their ponderous problems and sufferings on me. And this guy comes along, and I'm going to this outdoor John, you know, this outdoor Renapati, and I'm walking over there, and he says, "Sun Bear, I want to talk to you." And I said, I'm going to the toilet. He says, well, I'll come along. And so he's standing outside of there dumping his crap on me while I'm doing my best inside. And so there's some times that you can't escape, you know. There are times. If you're going to walk this path, you're going to have to know that there are times when they catch you. But it's something of it that if you really believe in the power to do things and that things can come to you, they're there. All of it comes to you. All of it comes to you literally. Like was up here at the Sacramento State Fair one day, and I had a booth there. And I'm sitting in this booth, and my buddy, he's split out and he's roaming over the fairgrounds, and I'm sitting there and it's a hot day, and I'm saying, I wish I had something cool or something, you know, just something I could enjoy here. And this young Japanese guy is walking by my booth, and he has about 1.5 pounds of deliciously cool-looking grapes in his hand. And I look at him and I say, oh, I wish I had those grapes. And he gets just almost by the booth, and he turns and he says, here, you want these grapes? I say, thank you, Great Spirit, thank you. He probably never even knew what hit him. And be open to asking, to praying for anything that you feel that you need, you know. Like I'm driving along out in the Midwest, heading through Iowa, and my Wabin and Shanadisi, they're asleep in the back. My partner's there in the car, and I'm driving there along, and I've been traveling for 3 weeks by myself, you know, and everything. And Spirit comes to me. The Spirit talks to me like this. Wherever I'm at, you know, Spirit comes to me. And this Spirit comes to me, and the Spirit says, well, what do you need? And I think for a minute, and I say, well, Spirit, what do you think I need? I say, you know, I'm a natural man. I've been traveling for 3 weeks by myself. Now, what do you think I need? That night, I get over there and I finish the lecture. And this beautiful lady comes up to me and puts her arms around me, and she says, you need me. And I say, thank you, Great Spirit, yes. Yes. And that is the thing of it, you know. You're here on the earth, Mother. You're a human being. Both of your feet touch the ground when you walk, and you're real. And look at the things that you need when you pray in a real manner. Make it something that you're reaching out in a real way for whatever you need at the time. And don't be, you know, Creator knows exactly what you're like, you know. Put you here on the earth, and you're, you know, and knows all of the little things. He knows all the little things that spin around in our heads and all of the energies in our bodies. And being open to asking in a real manner is very important. And a lot of people, they have a little problem, you know. They have a problem because they go through life with this, oh, I don't deserve it, you know. I hear this sometimes, you know. Sometimes I'm going to give somebody a fine gift, you know. I get a gift, I want to give it to them because I feel good about them. And I give it to them and put it in their hand, and they're saying, oh, I don't really deserve this, you know. And I feel like sometimes grabbing it back and saying, no, you don't deserve it, you know. I think sometimes I should do that for one of them just to give them, you know, a little extra lesson on it. I had a very powerful lesson taught to me by a little girl at the Bear Tribe. She's now quite a bit older. But when she was 5 years old, I come down from upstairs to in the house there, and I'm down there, and there's this tray of cookies on the table. And little Yarrow, she's looking at these cookies, and she says to me, she says, Sun Bear, can I have a cookie? And I know that she's probably had 2 or 3 of them already, you know. And her mother has said, no more cookies, Yarrow. And sometimes she knows that sometimes in situations like this, I have a little extra power, you know. And so she sights in and she asks me this, and I look at her and I say, why should you have a cookie, Yarrow? She says, because I deserve it. And I said, you can have a cookie. And that's the thing of it. You get to where if you can get to where you put your life into order and you're moving along in a sacred manner the best you can, and sorted out a lot of your crap, you know. Get rid of your crap. Like one of the special little treatments I have for getting rid of crap is a ceremony that I use. And some of you blessed people got this down because you've been in my workshops before. But it's a little ceremony in which it's based on a Native American tradition of our people. And I feel that this garbage is that we carry in our head, these old tracks and things, are the most, they are 90% of the illnesses of humanity start out with the tapes that we carry in our heads. And some of these tapes have been put into us long ways back, you know. From you're a naughty girl or a naughty boy trip way back, you know, on it. And we've carried them along. And they take power from us. They keep us from becoming whole, balanced human beings. And these tapes are very, very necessary to free ourselves from them. And the way that I work with my people, and there are many different ways that we work with this, but one of the most powerful experiences I have is having my brothers and sisters go out onto the land, and we dig a hole in the earth, and you get down on your hands and knees, and you speak into that hole all of the bad things that you're feeling about yourself, about anybody else. You bury in there your ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-anything, and all of the other things that your aunties and uncles said about you that make you feel bad, or the boss in the job, and you put them all down in that hole there, and put an acorn in with it, or put a pine cone in with it if you have that available, and then you leave it there. And you cover it over, and you ask the Earth Mother to transform it into what it is. Fertilizer for the earth. And then that's what the earth does to it, and there it's doing some good. You've gotten rid of it out of your head, and you clear yourself of that garbage. And what you got to do is you got to be brave enough to do it whenever you have to. You know, somebody comes up and you have a heavy-duty conversation with somebody, and they really are going on your case. Don't carry it around for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. Get rid of it. The next, just immediately go out to the woods, or out to an area, out to the sand or something, and just dig a hole and bury it there. And to me, this is the way of cleansing out, because then you got space for something else to come into, and you'd be amazed at how much you can keep your energy up on a very beautiful high level. I stay happy at least 97% of the time. I believe that that's what humanity is supposed to be about. Keeping yourself in balance and harmony with all the creation around you, and being happy within yourself. And if you're balanced within yourself and you're happy within yourself, then you got something to give to somebody else, you know. But if you're all burned out, you're all wiped out, and you got a lot of pain and suffering, you haven't got anything to give. You got to have a reserve of energy that makes you feel good, and you got something to dance with. The thing of it is that you're going to be moving through a lot of powerful changes coming on the Earth Mother. When you get yourself freed of your garbage, then the Spirit has a place to put some other knowledge into it, and the Spirit's going to be able to give you warning of the changes that are happening, going to happen on the Earth Mother. That's what I feel. I want to keep myself clear of all the garbage. If somebody's got something, wants to run a trip on me or give me some heavy-duty things, I try to take it, get through it, and then get on about whatever I have to do. Every so often, you know, I pinch somebody a little too hard or something, and they'll get pushed out of shape, and so I have to listen to them run their tape out, and I take it, and then I say, okay, I got that one. Now I just take it out and dig it down and bury it, you know. Because going around carrying it, feeling guilty about anything that you did or didn't do, isn't going to do it. Guilt is the most useless emotion there is. Remember that. That is a useless, totally useless emotion. You done something goofy, apologize for it if it feels like that's what's needed, and then get on about your dance, you know. But don't carry it around. And the biggest guilt trips that there is in this society is over our just being natural, our sexual energy. This is one of them that people get more mileage out of this than anything else. And there's a lot of rich psychiatrists and a lot of poor neurotics around. That's what it's done, you know. And that is something that, to me, I look at that and I can't believe it, you know. I can't believe it. Some of the people come to me that have sexual problems, you know. And it's something about it that we go into these really heavy-duty things about something that is very real, very natural, and the Creator put it there, you know. You look around with the rest of the creation, all this living is living life force energy. That the earth, growing things, new life coming up and regenerating all the time. That to me is the same energy, the same life force that's in our bodies. That's what the Creator put in there. Like when you can draw up energy from the earth and feed into that, or you can just, when I work with somebody, sometimes I'll run my hands over my body and just feel my own energy and my male energy and bringing it alive. And then I'll put my hands on them if I have to do some healing on them or massage them. And I use that, I'm transmitting live energy into them to help them, to heal them. And when I'm out here around the grounds, you know, you see me hugging a lot of these beautiful ladies and everything, you know. And I feel, when I'm hugging them, we're hugging real close there, hey, some good juices start stirring up. I can feel some good juices stirring in them too. And I say, well, hey, this is good, you know. And some of these people that may be a little bit locked into some particular thing, they may be having a little problem with it. And they say, hey, look at that sun bear over there, that old horny sun bear hugging this beautiful girl and everything. And I look, you know, I think about it and I say, well, Creator, who put this energy in me? Makes me feel good when I hug this lady like this. I say, oh, you did. Okay, then it's all right. Then don't anybody put any trips on me about it, you know. I'm happy with it. I'm enjoying it, and apparently they're enjoying it too, so it's okay, you know. And what I feel is that, you know, it's like if you have a little confusion about it, just take and watch the rest of the creation, you know, out there a little bit. And you never see a neurotic squirrel, you know. You never see a neurotic bird, you know. The comfort to me of life was when after the great nuclear disaster in Russia, I'm looking over there at this great nuclear disaster in Russia, hearing about it and everything happening, and I look out on the top of the roof of this one building. There's a mama starling with some grass in her mouth, and she's giving the old man, old Mr. Starling, the eye and everything, and doing some little tweeping and everything and making little noises. And finally he gets the idea and he gets up and jumps on her about 3-4 times, you know. And I say, oh, hey, life is still going. Life is alive, you know. And you go over there, and I went over to England afterwards, and here's a stallion out there, and he's sniffing this mare and getting ready to keep the energy flowing and everything. And I say, oh, hey, life is alive. Life is alive. And that is the thing about it. And get to where you can enjoy and understand yourself, and where you have all of your life force going the same direction. This is an important part of what I try and teach my apprentices and the people that work and study with me, to where that They haven't got their life in 6 different separate boxes. Because if you got everything that you got going the same direction, then you aren't wasting your energy. You aren't being locked up, and you find that you can really accomplish a lot. I use my male energy, my earth energy, my sexual energy all the time when I'm teaching and everything, you know. That's why I'm alive, you know. That's why I'm alive. I feel alive all the time, you know. And that's what it's supposed to be about, you know. To me, the Creator gave us this beautiful planet to live on. And it's all here, all available for us, and all the potentials of it, you know, are here. And the more that you open up to your own energy and become alive and learn how to use that on an everyday basis, the more beautiful it becomes. The more beautiful it becomes. To me, when I'm dancing along this sacred path, and I go all over the world doing it. I travel all over the world now to many different countries and everything. And wherever I travel, I'm with people like this, you know. Same beautiful, alive energy coming out there and everything, because it's happening all over the world. And I tell people, I tease them sometimes. I say, well, I've been living in heaven for years, you know. And if you traveled around with me, you'd have to say that. You'd have to acknowledge it, you know. I go over to Australia, you know, I'm over in Hawaii, I'm over in New Zealand, and all these beautiful places. I try and get there when the weather up north is a little chillier, and I really enjoy it, you know. And it's really a wonderful thing, you know. I come there and people are waving me goodbye at the plane and everything, and there's a lot of good energy that we feel there. I was up to Quebec province here a while back, and people were really beautiful people alive there. And this is around the whole world, this awakening energy of another consciousness. It's happening, you know. And the more that we become alive and get past any fears that we've locked into ourselves, into where that every day we're living and experiencing and learning. Very important to be that there. Get past all of the people that have put the little caps on your head and told you that this place, this beautiful Earth Mother, is a vale of tears or a place of suffering. Get all that garbage out of you. The Creator didn't build this, put us on this planet as a prison colony. It's not a place of suffering. It's a place for you to grow into your fullest potential as human beings. And you're going to have to be brave to walk past these death merchants, you know, because they're, you know, they more that they see the power of life emerging and everything. The Spirit is showing me this new world that's coming about, and it's springing up right while the rest of it's crumbling down around us, you know. And they like to lure them over and say, well, gee, you can't be doing that. You can't be happy. How can you be happy, you know? How can you be happy, you know? And they want to suck you into their gloom, you know. To me, the cleansing of the Earth Mother is a beautiful thing. It's not something that is not gloom. When you're alive and you're watching and you're listening, you know, you aren't sitting at the bottom of the volcano when it goes off, you know. You got to where you hear the power of it, and you say, hey, I hear you, Earth Mother. I'll get out of the way and watch it. I want to watch it, you know. I enjoy watching the Missouri River at full flood coming down there. And, you know, and it's going over the top of people's houses because they didn't understand that was the river's territory and not theirs, you know. Or over there in Hawaii, and that big mountain erupts over there, you know. And you see that volcano roaring down the side of a mountain. And somebody built a subdivision there. And they call it Hawaiian Royal Gardens. Volcano don't care what it's called, you know. It just goes right over it. And to me, that's what I want, and I want to share and teach my apprentices is to be spectators. I don't want them to be there laying down and under it. I want to be able to dance and say, hey, that was beautiful. Isn't that wonderful, you know? Seeing the power, the pure, live, raw energy of that volcano erupting. That's where it's at. That's why I also teach my apprentices and try to teach them a lot of other things. I try to teach them to buy their freedom from the system, you know. Like this is where I've pushed buttons on people sometimes, because I don't believe that we are necessarily supposed to be chattels to a machine or to something other where they turn the little key and let us out for 2 weeks out of the year, you know, and the rest of the time we're locked down to jobs. I believe that we're here for something besides running drill presses. I believe that, and teaching people how to buy their freedom. If you're working on a job and you say, hey, well, maybe I could take and do a contract of something similar to this, and I'd have enough time free to do something wonderful with it. I've gotten several of my apprentices that taught them how to sell their time at a higher price, so they aren't, you know, they got freedom to do something real. Like my old uncle told me a very powerful thing when I was just coming along and everything. He said, remember this. He said, any fool can get a job, but it takes a smart man to live without one. And I've been, since 1969, 1970, I haven't had a job. I haven't worked for anybody else. I've been able to support several people and teaching them how to do it. That's what that's the kind of rebel I am. I like to teach people how to buy their freedom and how to grow into their power in a real way. And I'm looking for my brothers and sisters. I'm not looking for followers. I'm looking for my playmates in the universe, you know. I want people that can grow into power and find out to where they can buy their freedom and learn how to dance. And what we're seeing, and the Kahuna brothers, they share this with me, and sisters, is what we're seeing is they say that now is the time when all the children are being called back by the Spirit. And what we're looking for is, at one time, all of us were at a level of consciousness and power that we reached out all around the world and we communicated each other mentally. And one of the things that we lived was on the mountaintops. Many of us lived on the mountaintops because the mountaintops are something that there's a belt of energy that goes around the earth. And this belt of energy is such that the communication reaches the tops of the mountains first. This is why a lot of people build retreat centers and monasteries. Many other things are built up on those levels. That's why Jesus, the great teacher, said, go to the mountains. Because it's a place that when you're in harmony, this consciousness and this power reaches you there first. And what we see is we see a whole world of people growing into a high level of consciousness, and to where they will be able to learn to understand and move at any level in this society without fear. And when you have your full power as a human being, and you have power and knowledge, you get to where you don't have any fear any longer, because there aren't any challenges left in the world for you. It's only the people, the insecure people, the little ones that are frightened over everything, you know, they're the people that are always worried. But if you have a balance and you're centered in, and you know what you're doing, you know your sacred path, then you can afford to be generous. You can be nothing but loving and generous because you don't have any challenges left. That's the path to power, reaching that level of consciousness and being able to pray in such a way that you pray your things into existence. Find your sacred path upon the earth. Find what's real to you. Move along that path. And as you move along the sacred path, you learn to be, if you're in harmony, if you're in balance, then you can learn that you can call on the Creator and the spirits and forces for whatever you want in a very real manner. And like I tell my brothers and sisters, when you pray for something that's real. Don't be wimpy about it, you know. Pray for what's real. Pray for your prayer right now, not last year's, not last month's prayer. Pray for what you need right now and project that out and walk the same direction that you're praying always. And that's what's real. Thank you, beautiful people. It's good.
Thank you.